Hello everyone, myself Aditya, currently doing data analytics internship at the Sparks Foundation. So here is my first task which is based upon linear regression. So basically our goal here is to predict the percentage score of an incident given the number of study hours. So let's start. First we are importing the libraries. So pandas are used for the data frame to manipulate data basically. NumPy used for the numbers and matplotlib and seaborn used for plotting the data. And then we are reading the data file and dataset.shape. Here we are reading just that how many columns and rows are there in the dataset. So head function shows the first 5 rows of the data. So we are specifying here 10. Here are the 10 rows and 2 columns. That's we can see that scores can be out of 100 or 1000. So we are just changing the scores column name to the percentage score, then checking the column data type and null value. So here we can see that hours are in float and percentage score in int, and there are no null values. So we are changing data type of percentage score from int to float. Why? Because that score can be in decimal. So we need to put the value in float. So let's check what is the relationship between these two columns. So here we can use matplotlib to plot the data. So on y-axis we can see that there is percentage score and on x-axis hours studied. So basically overall we can assume that the relationship between these two is linear. So let's import another library known as sklearn or scikit-learn you can say. So we are importing train test split to, to split the data into training and testing and the model which is linear regression. So we are just dropping the percentage score column and putting it into the y variable. Now we have to train the data, so we can train it on the data set. So we have just split the data into training and testing. So basically x train, y train and x test, y test. So test size is 0.2, 80% for the training and 20% for the testing. And we have used random state equals to 42. As you can see that I have wrote the description that whenever we run the code, the output value will be same each time. So we are specifying random state equals to 42, or you can assign whatever the number you can think of, like 0, 1, or any other. But it shouldn't be negative. So let's find the shape of the training and testing data sets. So here are the shapes of the testing and training data sets. So let's create the model. So we are just calling linear regression model and we are fitting the data that is X train, Y train. So we are just training it now. After training, let's plot the data. So we have plotted the data. So here we can see that the relationship is linear. Now let's predict the test scores based upon the test data. So here we can see the test result of the prediction. So let's compare the actual versus predicted data. So the test hours are 8.3, percentage scores. Actual was 81, but the score we predicted was 83%. So now come to the conclusive point. So what will be the score if a student studies for 9.2 hours per day? So we have just predicted that if the student studies for 9.25 hours, then the predicted score would be 92.38. So let's check out the performance of our algorithm. So we are importing metrics through we can just calculate the mean absolute error. So which came out to be 3.92. Thank you.